Hello and happy Friday, everyone. I want to start off with a couple announcements. First off, I want to thank those that gave feedback on my work. I've been learning Redshift and starting to get back to making some images because over the last probably 2 months, I've been making that Maya course and that occupied a lot of my time. So I've been able to do any image creation myself. So I've been able to stretch my wings a little bit and do that, which feels great. So thank you guys for your feedback, and I wanted to bring that up because it's so important. Like I said, even though I've been doing this a long time, I'm going to lean on you guys in this community to help me as I go through projects as well. You all have great eyes. The feedback you gave was spot on, and so I just wanted to say thank you for that. Okay. The other big announcement for today, making sure you guys saw this posted, we have a new animation that's ready to light. This is from Fabian. This is a really clean character animation, a lot of fun. He's looking for someone to make it look pretty. You can find all the files in our Discord channel, in the animation share channel, and you can get all that there. Other than that, so yeah, you can download that. Same rules apply as always. Make sure you're giving him credit. If you light it and end up posting on your demo reel, make sure you share that back with me so I can share it with him so that he could possibly use it on the demo reel and give you credit. But yeah, this is a lovely way for us to create some symbiotic relationships here. So good stuff overall. Let me know if you have any questions about that. Okay, so let's get into some critiquing. Let's stay here in the videos. We'll talk to Ashley. So Ashley, I was looking at this before. 2 notes for you. 3 notes, actually, I should say that. So number 1, I think the cane doesn't have a texture on it yet, so just make sure to look into that. Number 2, let's watch the old man for a second. So he steps in, he gets hit by the rim light, right? And it kind of, let's actually just stop on the last frame. So you can see here, it's hitting up here, it's hitting over here, which would imply that this light is shining, let's talk about this in 3D space. This light is shining like this way and hitting him here. It would also, if it was flying at that trajectory, we would see it more on the table, right? Like we'd see it spilling into the space, and we're not really seeing that. We're seeing it over here. So these 2 things aren't fully lining up to us. And while I agree that I think it's nice to have a little bit of rim light on him back there, or a little bit of rim light around him there, I think what we should do is take it off of this side of him, because that's going to be problematic, and then limit and then tone it down here on his arm. So it's a little bit more of like a kick, and it's almost like it's bouncing up from the ground as opposed to coming in from the window itself, because it's just not at an angle where it's going to hit him directly. That being said, I do think we can have a little more sun spotlightiness here on the ground. I think that would be cool. And then the last thing is the color of this light. It feels, and it's the same when she enters too, it just feels a little on the yellow side. I would just add some more red hues to that to create a more orangey feel to it. Yeah, so that would be my notes there. For your outside shot, I think this one's looking really good. I want to just get like a little bit more warmth in her skin would be just about it. And also this, like you've got some nice shapes, some shadows in here. It would be great if there was something kind of like darkening something over there, just because like that kind of gets flat on that side, you know what I mean? But everything else is looking in a pretty good spot. So I would focus on the inside, except for maybe adding like a light blocker or a gobo over there. All right, Dani. So I like the updates on the white trim. I still feel like the whites can go brighter again. White objects being hit by sun, like especially the fence feels a little bit gray. I still think that there should be some contact, like stronger ambient occlusion contact shadow between her and the ground here. Have we lost? It looks like we lost some saturation there, so you might want to check into that. Oh, and then, yeah, so this one's interesting. So let's take a look at the house. So I think that you may have grabbed a matte to darken the reflection, and you may have grabbed like the entire window, because I can see something like a faceted edge here. And it just like, it's so much, the dark point on that is so much darker than anything else in the house. Like, it just feels a little bit out of place. So I think that like this feels a little bit like hazy. So I think the darks can go a little darker here and then not as dark as that. So you can kind of push and pull those values together a little bit more. So that would be my main notes on this one. Let's go ahead and move on to our still images. Actually, there's one more animation to go through. Julio's, yours didn't quite upload properly, so I just had to reload it there. Okay, so this is looking great. I think this is working out really well. You've got the areas of interest. You've got the dark to light, back to dark, back to light, and that's working out really, really well. The things about it that I would improve is that in this dark, in the shadow areas, I would encourage you to get a little bit of a kick. It doesn't, like maybe like a cool kick light on their screen right side. It doesn't, like this shot's working out pretty well. Also, watch the white line here on his, on the like a matte line there. It might just be a low res thing. But it just helps to get a read there. But really it's going to benefit at this pose, because like this pose happens really quickly and I lose them in here. So I'm wondering if maybe a cool kick in here will help. Maybe a little bit more key light on them would really help out with that. But that pose is so fast that if you watch it at speed, we kind of lose them in there. So it'd just be nice to get like there to there. I'm not fully seeing his performance, which is I'm sure the main goal of this. The other thing about this, and this is just like an aesthetic thing, is that we're kind of mixing styles. So the character is very simplified. The ground is simplified. The butterfly is very simplified. There's not a lot of bark on the trees, but these rocks are like super detailed, right? There's like there's photo, there's a seam there, but like, I'm wondering if, and this is just me, I kind of tend to go simplified or I tend to go complex. And I think that when you mix them, it feels kind of strange. So I'm wondering if we shouldn't just make the rocks a little more simplified to kind of meet that aesthetic. But I'll let you and the animator figure that out if you guys want to do that. Maybe they set that up. So that being said, let's see if there's anything else. These leaves up here, again, although they're simple in shape, it'd be great to get a little translucency on their shader to get some light passing through. Because I think those would look really well. Translucency is the name of the day. And motion on the clouds is nice. It's simple. I'm looking right now to see if there's anything we can do. Like if maybe we can, I'm wondering about the shadows. I'm wondering if they're a little too neutral and a little too dark. And I'm wondering if we can't get, because again, like bright sunny day, I'm wondering if we can't get a little coolness in there. And then last note, I'm just seeing this here. At the haze is good and the God rays are good here, but it's almost like we need to push him back when he gets into this pose, because now he's in the rays and he's only like a foot or two away from camera. So I feel like maybe pulling him out of the God rays a little bit might be good. Okay, that's it for that. Let's go ahead and move on to our still images. We'll go front to back. Oh, Amit. So this is looking really good. The only thing, I like the blue. The only thing that I would say is I think, like, I like the way that the light is creeping around on this side of his face, like that same value. I would try and get a little bit more in there. Like, just like something along this brightness of value, just a little bit onto his cheek here. If you can get that, I think that you can probably call this one done. Yeah, I think that would look pretty good. Dani. So this is your other one. So I think like the values in here are starting to look a lot better. That's feeling really good. The crown itself is getting like a reddish orange. I don't know if you can see that. Like this part right here is getting like super, it's almost like it's reflecting a bright red thing, but there's nothing bright and red around it to reflect it. So I would just like take a look at that and see if there's anything wacky going on in there. Still think that this can come down a little bit, and then Are these candlesticks on the table? Because they should be getting a little bit of the light from this as well. Check in on that. And then these shadows can still go softer, I think. I would increase the radius of this blue light in here and see if that helps. Because these should feel very soft, like ambient fill light type shadows. I like this amount of bounce light that we're getting up in here. I think that's looking really good. Yeah, I think that's good for your next iteration. All right, Javier. Let's see. We've got. Okay. You have a unique style. Your style is different than every time I see your images, I know they're yours because you have this like very bold color scheme thing going on. It's really interesting. So the thing about these references, first off, this is really cool. I really like that. Just the line art in that is so pretty. So what you've got going on here is very straightforward, either monochromatic color schemes like this, or very straight, he's lit by blue light over a red background, right? Very clean cut colors. Now, when you go into yours here, we're seeing kind of a combination of those two things, right? So I would tell you that either make him lit by the red light, which I would probably lean towards because we wanted to kind of feel part of the environment, or infuse some of these other colors. But kind of make him stand out and make the background abstract. Because what's happening now is we've got kind of like a yellowish light on him. I see some green light around here, but none of that is reflected in the space. And it feels very disjointed. Now, I like the idea of these, it all just being like a monochromatic color scheme. There's a lot of art reference you can pull from that, and you can really pull some shaping. And it's more just about the value difference, because you're not going to get much difference based on, saturation, because it's all going to be red. But I think you could. That's the way that I would do it. Also, if you're looking at getting like these types of throw patterns on the wall, take a look at IES profiles. We've got a lecture on it in the Arnold course and in the Redshift course. Not quite sure what you're using to render, but take a look at that. And then the other bit of it that I would encourage you to do is if you're throwing this light up here on the walls, craft it in a way that gets the character to stand out. If he's dark, throw light behind him. If he's light, make sure there's no light behind him to allow him to pop forward. But I think there's just too much light going on him right now in too many different directions, and I would ask for you to think about it and then simplify the approach there. Hop over into your this other one. Great job pulling up reference, by the way. This is really, really clean and really, really helpful. So the one thing I would encourage on this one is I still want to encourage you, this light looks cool up here. Some of these, let's look at this building right here. So we've got big square panels and a huge amount of light, like a light that's shining all the way up to the top of the building. Both of those are gonna make it, these squares are gonna make it feel very CG, because that's not how we see things. And by that I mean, let's do these one at a time. So looking at these squares, if you look at your reference, these signs have detail in them. They say things, they have variation, they have even at this scale, you can see differences in amongst the larger squares. Even look at that. You can see that there's some diagonal lines in there and stuff. So for you, I would challenge you to get some more detail into these larger, blocks of light. And secondly, you don't want, do you see how on these buildings the light falls off as we go up? That gives us a sense of scale. That makes these feel big. But a light that doesn't start shining until up here and then goes all the way to the top makes these things feel like they're 2 feet tall. You want more immediate, you want fall off on it. You want the light to decay as it goes up to make it feel like a big building. So that's kind of throwing off our scale a little bit as well. And the last thing that I would really like for you to work on is, this is such a good reference. And what I want is for you to have an atmospheric render that looks something, and you can see it here too, this aerial perspective, this aerial fall off. I want you to have a render that looks like this, that we can add in here, and create more of it, that aerial fall off atmospheric effect, because again, that will help the scale. So again, 3 big things for this one: get some more detail into the signage and stuff, and find ways to get make the feeling of the buildings feel bigger by having shorter decay on the lights. And then if you can start to infuse like a aerial perspective, and if you choose not to do that aerial perspective stuff next, that's fine. We can get there. Oh, and then the third thing I was going to say too was the color schemes on these. This is very cyan and magenta. This is very green and orange. I think that we, again, I would minimize your color scheme down to just like two or 3 colors here, because we've got green, blue, red, orange, a lighter green, a more cyan, a kind of a purple. I would simplify it down a little bit, because that is something that makes these really, really cool. Is like these very simple color schemes. All right, Javier. Oh, Jeff. Okay, this one's looking cool. There's something about this is making it harder to read him, I'm realizing, because the yellow is similar to his shade, and I'm wondering how we can work that. Maybe it's just okay. You know what it is? I think it's a matter of this eye's getting a little bit hazy, and I would like to see that eye get a little bit darker to get it to pop off a little bit more. And then the other thing that I would challenge you to do on this one is this feel like I'm sitting back looking at it. It feels very like the water. It's nice that you have this reflection here. I just want to see more variation in the water. I want to see, like, as we have clouds, I want to see like some areas that get a little brighter, because right now it's pretty, other than these glowy orbs, the sky isn't giving it that much variation in the reflection. So I'd like for you to try and push some more reflection in there. And if you can, let's try and add some subsurface to the rice here. See if we can get a little bit of warmth and backscatter in there as well. And I think that'll be good there. Cat. All right, so I want to take a look at this iteration with the translucency on the planes. Like, look at what a difference this makes, right? It makes it feel a little more alive, makes it feel like the light's passing through. You still have this very like the heavy cool fog. I guess it's okay because it's back there a little bit, but yeah, I think the. I'm trying to think, because the other thing that I was looking at with this is that, like, the island is being hit pretty uniformly with the light, or this area, and I'm wondering if we can break up that light a little bit, specifically on this side, like just get a little bit of shadow as we go down there. Also, the fact that it's so bright and then it goes into like this very dark water is tricky, because like I would expect to see more like specular highlights like you see on water on a sunny day. And then also be careful with this blue tint that you're putting on, because I can see like her arm is now a very different tone between those. And then watch out for her eyes. They look very glossy, and like there should be a kind of a, at this distance I should be able to see a little bit of like a pupil iris sclera separation, and it kind of all is a little bit flush there, and a little bit like little same. Let's go back to this one. So I think you said you're working on adding more bounce light in there, so I won't make any comment on that. But yeah, I think those are the big areas. And when I talk about the reflection, actually, let's go back to Jeff's. So do you see how there's these like light hits in the water? I want to see some more of that in here, to make that really feel like, and is that, 'cause like maybe it's a little more static of water, like it's that maybe doesn't have waves on it, but it would have a little bit of a ripple, and we would be able to pick up a little bit of that. So let's give that a shot, and we will go from there. Rebecca, these are looking really good. The only thing that I would do is I was looking at this, and the brights are a little bit on the brighter side. So all I did was I just like brightened it up a little bit, and I think maybe not quite to that level, maybe a little less than that, but I think that like this level will be nice. And I love this, like, because it still feels cool, but I'm getting some of the warmth in the skin tone over here. I think that's working out really, really, really well. yeah, but I think that's it. And then maybe a little vignette around the edge, just to make it kind of portraity. And I think that would be good. Rick. Okay, for yours, I know you were talking about the darkness on these flowers down here. So there are. Let's have you work on. We're gonna have you work on 3 things for the next iteration. Number 1, I want you to mess with translucency on these flowers. That's what's gonna help this dark area, because it's not gonna be about light. If we keep hitting it with light, it'll just be, everything else will get drowned out. So work on the shader of those flowers, increase the translucency so that, because they're flower petals and light's just gonna pass right through there. So that's number 1. Number 2, there's something green that's happening here on her face. I love the color on her arm, but her face is getting this yellowish greenish stuff. And I think that we need to get rid of that. And number 3, this string is getting very dark, and I want that to, and maybe that's having some translucency on the string too, or just something to brighten it up so it feels like a nice clean white string. So let's start there, and then we'll use that to go on to the next iteration. All right, so that is everyone today. If anybody has any questions, make sure you guys reach out. Again, check out the animation, cool stuff, and let me know what you guys think. The only other big announcement was I've added an animated GIF to our logo. Let me know if you guys like it. It was brought to my attention in our general talk that we can do that now, because you guys are amazing in boosting the forum and the server, and it's so incredible, and I appreciate it so much. All right, have a wonderful weekend, guys, and I'll see you all on Monday. Happy letting.